Strategic regulation at the heart of tourism-led growth. You can adjust the language according to your preference. Choose the program that suits your needs from the playlist. Customize the subtitle position on your laptop, and adjust the video speed with the slider to suit your needs and comfort. Let's grow together through your subscribe and like on this video.
Public communication should be candid rather than glib. Grandiloquent rhetoric may impress briefly, but citizens require a clear articulation of policy trade-offs. When discourse becomes bombastic or hackneyed, credibility deteriorates. Leaders must resist dogma. Doctrinaire rigidity can render institutions inert. Instead, adaptive governance encourages incremental reform, evaluates empirical outcomes, and revises strategy where necessary. Civil society participation strengthens accountability. When grassroots organizations heed community concerns and disseminate findings, governance becomes more inclusive. An engaged citizenry is less likely to be duped by fallacious claims. The private sector likewise bears responsibility. Corporate actors must eschew short-term exploitation and adopt long-term sustainability metrics. Fastidious environmental compliance enhances both brand reputation and market resilience. Ultimately, tourism policy must elevate human development. It should reduce indigence, create dignified employment, and incorporate gender equity across every echelon. When benefits are distributed equitably, social cohesion strengthens. Political maturity requires equanimity in the face of criticism. Governments that respond with invective or incendiary accusations only exacerbate polarization. Conversely, those who welcome scrutiny cultivate trust. At its best, tourism embodies euphony between culture and commerce. It generates encounters that are felicitous rather than exploitative. It transforms dormant heritage sites into vibrant hubs without debasing authenticity. At its worst, however, it can devolve into an Ersatz-Spektakeln, artificial performance designed to ingratiate foreign consumption. Policymakers must guard against such inconstancy. The future of tourism will not be determined by fortune alone. It will be shaped by deliberate policy, empirical vigilance, and ethical stewardship. Reform is not instantaneous. It is a process of gestation. If undertaken with integrity, tourism can become a haven of opportunity rather than a source of contention. It can elevate national dignity and foster cross-cultural understanding. The final measure of success is not merely revenue accumulation. It is whether tourism engenders equitable prosperity, preserves intrinsic heritage, and strengthens democratic governance. In the inexorable movement of global markets, nations must adapt without surrendering sovereignty. They must remain hardy, yet flexible, principled, yet pragmatic. Tourism, like democracy, thrives not through dogma, but through dialogue. Not through duplicity, but through transparency. Not through exploitation, but through stewardship. And in that balanced interplay between economy and regulation, between politics and principle, tourism finds its enduring legitimacy. Tourism is inherently itinerant. It thrives on movement of people, capital, narratives, and aspirations. Every traveler carries an itinerary, a structured expectation of experiences that juxtapose heritage and modernity. In this kinetic global system, destinations compete not only through natural pulchritude, but through regulatory clarity and political stability. At this juncture in the global economy, tourism has become a landmark sector. It can kindle growth, generate employment, and elevate peripheral regions into luminous centers of commerce. Yet its promise is neither automatic nor immune to the machinations of power. Economic actors, magnates, local entrepreneurs, and even mendicant vendors operate within a multifarious milieu. Some projects are lavish and palatial, designed to lionize national prestige. Others remain makeshift, lacking optimal planning, and prone to precipitous decline. Political leadership must be judicious. A lax regulatory framework may invite larceny, while an onerous levy can stifle nascent enterprises. Policymakers must pair excessive bureaucracy without jettisoning accountability. The balance is delicate. Tourism often becomes mired in paradox. It seeks pristine authenticity while constructing ostentatious resorts. It promotes liberal exchange, yet sometimes incubates jingoism when nationalist rhetoric overshadows economic pragmatism. At times, political discourse surrounding tourism becomes polemic. Ministers deliver arrayed speeches filled with platitudes, while critics lampoon their lackluster reforms. The layperson, inundated with jargon, struggles to discern lucid policy from mendacious spin. Investment flows may proliferate in propitious conditions, but they can plummet when confidence falters. Markets oscillate between optimism and lassitude. In a precarious fiscal climate, governments must adopt pragmatic strategies rather than presumptuous projections. Environmental degradation presents a perennial quandary. Coral ecosystems can be marred by profligate expansion. Wetlands may become noisome due to lax waste management. Regulatory frameworks must mitigate pernicious externalities without imposing prohibitive barriers to growth. The political economy of tourism is not merely economic per se, it is normative and cultural. It permeates local mores and reshapes communal identity. In some contexts, tourism catalyzes a metamorphosis of traditional societies into polyglot urban hubs. Yet, modernization can also ossify inequalities. When development is captured by plutocracy, benefits remain nominal for ordinary citizens. A paucity of equitable distribution fosters resentment and, in extreme cases, civil unrest. The challenge is to obviate systemic failure through prudent governance. Reform requires probity and principled leadership. Without these, even prodigious revenue streams may evaporate, leaving regions at their nadir. Transparency initiatives should be pellucid rather than opaque. Contracts must be patent, not obscured by legerdemain. Public communication should avoid pejorative rhetoric and instead posit realistic projections grounded in empirical analysis. International cooperation can be providential when structured judiciously. Visa agreements and aviation accords must dovetail seamlessly. Nevertheless, sovereignty must not be negated by over-reliance on external potentates or proxy investors. Tourism reform is not a prologue to instant prosperity. It is a meticulous, sometimes ponderous process of institutional recalibration. Governments must preempt corruption, parry partisan obstruction, and placate legitimate civic concerns. In doing so, policymakers must remain keenly aware that tourism's kinetic energy can either fortify democracy or exacerbate polarization. At its optimum, it becomes a paragon of inclusive development. At its worst, it degenerates into a meretricious spectacle. The future trajectory depends on whether political actors are perspicacious or myopic. They recognize tourism's profound socioeconomic implications. They may craft policies that are not merely plausible, but transformative. This is the juncture at which governance determines destiny.